Hi everyone, this is Brianna Daugherty with my case study for Module 12. So, establishing the facts for this case study. I found it really interesting and it's something I feel like could probably happen in a lot of classrooms today. St. Regis School is a rural school with limited funding. Most of the funding that for the school comes from two major fundraising events each year. Mr. Sample is the principal of the school, and Ms. Lynn is the library/media specialist. With the leftover budget from the fundraising, Mr. Sample and Ms. Lynn decided to purchase new program software for the computer lab for all students to utilize. Once the teachers saw how much the supplemented material was benefiting their students, some of them approached Ms. Lynn asking her to make copies of the software for the computers in their own classrooms. Ms. Lynn made the copies of the software and handed them out to other teachers. Once Ms. Lynn dispersed the copies of the software to teachers, Ms. Brandon was another teacher. She refused to accept the copy, knowing that it was violating copyright laws. Mr. Sample was not aware of what was happening when Ms. Brandon brought it to his attention in his office that day. Mr. Sample went to the Library Media Center to talk to Ms. Lynn about what was going on. When Mr. Sample addressed Ms. Lynn with how she was violating copyright restrictions, Ms. Lynn only proceeded to tell Mr. Sample how much the PTA would benefit and be thrilled with the amount of money that she was saving, and how the PTA president, Ms. Evans, was even volunteering that day before when she made the CDs and helped her make copies of the software and hand them out to the teachers. So here are some legal and ethical issues. Even though Ms. Lynn is trying to save the school some money and make their budget stretch further, there are issues with what she's doing. The problem evaluated with Ms. Lynn and Ms. Evans is that making these copies, they are violating the 1976 U.S. copyright and its 1980 amendments. When a school purchases software, they have to purchase a number of copyrights as to how many devices the software can access. Ms. Brandon is in an awkward position because she is aware of the copyright law and how they're supposed to copy software material and disperse it, or how they're not supposed to copy software material and disperse it among other teachers. However, she is still new at the school and she wants to get along with everyone, but she is uncomfortable knowing that they are violating copyright laws. Seeing as how Mr. Sample and Ms. Brandon are both aware of Ms. Lynn and Ms. Evans dispersing the software copies, they could be liable under the tort liability, which we learned about previously, if they do not report the issue or do not resolve the issue in their own manners. So there was also a breach of contract in regards to the copyright protection. It's not necessarily something that is signed, but it is an agreement whenever you take the copyright, whenever you purchase the software. You have to agree to it. It's a simple, yes, I agree to this, no, I don't agree to this, whenever you're purchasing it online. From what we know in this case so far, I didn't see any discriminatory or constituted actions that were taken. So to simplify the problem in one sentence, Ms. Lynn and Ms. Evans have made and dispersed illegal copies of computer software, and Ms. Brandon brings the issue to Mr. Sample, who is now aware of the violation of copyright laws. So, who are the people that are involved in this scenario or this case study? It is Ms. Lynn, Mr. Sample, Ms. Evans, Ms. Brandon, the PTA volunteers, Ms. Williams, which was another teacher that was mentioned in the case study, and then the other teachers that were dispersed, and then students that are utilizing the program. This all takes place at St. Regis School. A scene takes place in the principal's office. Some scenes take place in the classroom. Some take place in the library media room. And then all of these are in a rural area versus a suburban. The program, this school is grades K through 8. It's a rural area, something I'm familiar with. There are 2 teachers per grade level. There's 1 special education teacher for grades K through 4, and then there's 1 special education teacher for grades 5 through 8. Approximately 420 students total in the school. And then again, they do 2 major fundraising events. However, there's some information that I don't know and I want to ask. So something that I don't know about is, does the school have a school board? Are there more administration leaders, such as a vice principal, a treasurer, or director of transportation, people that are on the administration board? And then what teachers are utilizing the programs in their classroom? What teachers have not utilized the program in their classroom? Is there a race or a gender bias in the school area? And then are there sources of political power? Do we have someone that is going to be able to pull strings one way or the other? I'm not aware of. So something else is that I don't necessarily know the demographics of the school. We know that the funding comes from the fundraising events. We don't know if there is lack of funding from parents. We don't know if there's lack of funding from the state. We don't know if parents help purchase equipment, otherwise, things like that. We also don't know the actual physical condition of school, the classrooms, computers, the software, or anything we're using. Another thing, so regarding the program, we aren't even aware, we don't know what kind of software it is or what kind of curriculum it has. Is it a software that has all the curriculum involved in one to where every teacher can utilize it? Is it a software program that is just for reading? Is it a software program that's just for math? Things like that we're missing and could be beneficial into making a final decision with this case study. So here are some options that could happen. If nothing is done about this copyright violation, the school could face a copyright lawsuit. If the school faces a lawsuit, that could be damaging to not only the school itself, but the teachers, students, and the community in which the school is serving. So then something else could be that while the students and the teachers have an important stake in how this all plays out, Mr. Sample, Miss Evans, Miss Lynn, and Miss Brandon could all be held equitably liable for knowing that the copyright violation is happening and not doing anything to resolve it. Other school administration should also be consulted in regards to how to handle a situation like this and not just one person making the final decision. A piece of information that could help in solving this issue, along with the others I have mentioned, is would be knowing the actual copyright law and what it states in the software program that they're utilizing. So in general, copyright violation is something that should be handled right away, and knowing the information that they have provided, I feel as if I can make a decision based on what I've been given. So here are some possible options and some possible consequences that I came up with. As a principal, I could just let this slide off of my radar and not take any actions. I've informed Ms. Lynn that she's violating the copyright protection laws, and I can tell Ms. Brandon that she doesn't have to accept any of the discs from Ms. Lynn. Number 2, I could turn Ms. Lynn over to the authorities for dispersing the copies of the software without the proper copyright, and they could handle it from there. Number 3, I could give Miss Lynn a write-up and put her in charge of a fundraising event in order to raise the funds to obtain the copyright license for the copies that she illegally has dispersed. Number 4, I could communicate with Miss Lynn that I'm going to take back any copies that she has made of the software and delete it off of the computers that are not in the computer lab. Once all copies were obtained, they would be destroyed with the clear understanding of no copies being made in the future. So if I choose option number 1, which would be where I do nothing and let it slide out under my radar, I could be liable for tort liability. Even though it might seem like an easy way out, it could eventually lead to more ethical issues later, and turning my head to an issue like this one time could result into more issues like this later in the future. By turning Miss Lynn into the authorities, I am losing a valuable aspect of my education team. Even though copying the software was not legally correct, I would want to inform her of her wrongdoings and give her another chance. Number 3, by writing Miss Lynn up, this would hold accountability to future actions. With her having to host the fundraiser, but with her having to host a fundraiser, it does not ensure that all the funds will actually cover the cost of the copyright law to the software that she dispersed. She might not make enough money from it. And then we're back to square one. So number 4 is by having the copies destroyed and informing Miss Lynn of her mistake. This is a teachable moment for all faculty, not just her and staff. This would prevent similar instances from happening in the future. So for me, the best solution with the best possible outcome would be solution number 4. By having the copies destroyed and informing Miss Lynn of her mistake, this is a teachable moment for all faculty and staff. This would prevent any similar instances from happening in the future, hopefully. By choosing to destroy the copies and make a teachable moment, I am able to hold training and make sure all teachers and school employees are up to date with copyright laws. This will allow me the opportunity to address the do's and don'ts when it comes to copyright laws. I would also want to make sure that the rest of my administration team is behind my final decision before I make the final call. However, I feel it is the best option for the school as well as the employee and the other teachers who obtained the software from Ms. Lynn. Now that a solution has been decided, I am going to hold an immediate meeting with all appropriate administrators. I want to fully address the situation that I have been brought and bring forth my solution that I have come up with. Once I have the administration's approval, I will collect all copies of software from Ms. Lynn. I will then make sure the copies are properly destroyed and disposed. After that, I will check every classroom computer and make sure that the software is fully deleted off of the network and hard drive. I know this will probably upset some of the teachers that are utilizing the software, but I will let them know that we will work towards purchasing more software with legal copyrights in the near future. All of the faculty and staff will be required to attend a training course on copyright protection. We will then implement a session at the beginning of every school year to ensure that any changes to be addressed and everyone stays up to date on the issue. I want to make sure to fully educate and communicate with my employees of the consequences that could happen legally and financially if copyright laws are violated. Seeing as how this is a new issue for our school, I feel as if I can handle the situation on my own. If another instance happens with Ms. Lynn in the future, further disciplinary actions will be taken. If this plan or action does not work, I will reevaluate with my administration team as the best way to handle the situation. However, I feel as if this solution is the most viable for all parties involved.